Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's stream for the Real Watchers. My name, of course, is Garrett.
And I'm still Adrian.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear there's not like a body snatch.
You're telling me.
But thank you, everyone, who is joining us already, and will continue to join us throughout the evening. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, a lot of stuff going on in the world of film, a lot of stuff we've been watching, which is going to be...
We said that last week, and now there's even more this week.
There are 3 more news stories this week compared to last week, which is pretty exciting. But Adrian, how are you doing, bud, before we dive into things?
I'm doing well. It was a long weekend. But getting back to it, I finally went back into the office today. I usually work from home on Monday, so getting back to the grind.
That's right. You had Friday off, right?
Yeah, and Monday was like a half day, so it was like a weird week, kind of like throwing it around, and then just a long weekend in general, and now getting back to the regular old days.
Lucky you. I mean, well, you didn't get Monday off last week for Memorial Day. I did, so it was like it's a little bit different. We got a comment from our good friend Toxic Nos. Hola, how are you doing? Hope you're having a great night so far. Well, let's go ahead and we got a lot of news stories to get through, so might as well start talking about them. And up first, Adrian, I think we're both looking forward to this movie. We got word that the Oppenheimer film coming out from Christopher Nolan is in fact going to be rated R, which is kind of a surprise. This is Nolan's first R-rated film in 20 years, apparently.
Yeah.
And mostly comes down to apparently there is going to be some sexuality and nudity in the film, probably due to the fact that I guess Mr. Oppenheimer did have a affair during his marriage, and the actress that plays the person, well, actually Florence Pugh is playing the actress who he had an affair with. So I don't know if that means we'll see something that way, but you never know. And it also could be footage of the bomb going off. It might be more distressing and more realistic than anything we've seen in film before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons for it.
I did see that people, because obviously Barbie comes out on the same day, that people watching Barbie, and it's like them watching a really fun movie, and then the sound system from the theater next door when the bomb goes off, like everyone's... But yeah, I'm super excited regardless. I feel like people finally committing to the rated R, to me, shows that they're not being like restrained by any limitations. That if that's what's required for the vision to be what it is, then that's what it is, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always in favor of sticking to a creative vision and not compromising it for anyone else.
I.e. Deadpool, right? Stuck to the guns, and look at what came out of that. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Speaking of explosive news, though, Mark Hamill has officially announced that he is done playing the role of Luke Skywalker. Definitely the end of an era with this news. I don't know. I believe he means like he won't be doing any voice acting for it. He won't be doing anything relating to the role anymore, which is pretty big news.
Yeah, I mean, with the recent shows and other projects that Disney Plus has been doing, he has been on set for those and has been in costume. So they get facial reference for actual Mark Hamill, not just kind of archived footage. And yeah, he's just done now. He's actually expressed a willingness to recast the character. That's how done he is. So,
and I feel like that. I mean, it's been his whole life, right? I feel like it's totally acceptable to step out now that he's getting older and has other priorities.
Yeah, 100%. And wish him luck on whatever he does next.
Good luck,
Mark Hamill is he's a great person. I always wish him the best.
Mark Hamill, we know you're watching the stream now. Good luck.
Yes, he is among our audience, and always wishing the best for you. Next up, Andy Muschietti, who is currently the director for The Flash, which comes out later this month, I believe, or early July, is set to direct the new Batman film, The Brave and the Bold, for James Gunn's brand new DCU, which, from everything we're hearing about how he has directed The Flash, feels like a good choice.
Yeah, it seems like just a fine movement. I feel like I'm excited for it. I'm hesitant on The Flash itself, but I have heard nothing but good things about the directing, so I'm here for it, I guess.
If anything, I've been seeing a couple of spoiler-free reviews today. I obviously don't look out for spoiler ones, but the spoiler-free reviews are praising how he handles Batman, both versions of him, in the film. So, I mean, hey, it just kind of makes sense.
Yeah. And in other kind of, I guess, not really Flash news, but I'm going to flash a picture. Expendables 4 poster has been officially announced. Trailer coming out tomorrow. So stick online, check YouTube. We'll be getting that tomorrow. And I've always been a pretty big fan of the trilogy that we've had so far. I think it's just a pure action movie, and I feel like it knows what it is and it makes fun of itself. First one's excellent. Other two are kind of gimmicky, kind of like what happened to the Fast and Furious franchise, but hopefully they can come around with the fourth. The cast looks pretty good, so I'm excited.
I mean, we've had quite a few revolutionary action films in the time since we've had the Expendables films, so hopefully they've taken a couple of those lessons and apply them to the film. I mean, I'm not saying it has to be John Wick, but you could learn a couple of things from it.
I hope they can turn it into like almost, if this is the last one, like send it out with a bang and do it well and make it a great movie. We'll see.
Yeah. Next up, we actually had some cool news that came out today. The new Captain America film coming out with Anthony Mackie as Captain America has been retitled. It is in fact now called Brave New World, keeping its same release date, I'm sure. This is a change. The film was originally supposed to be called New World Order and has now been changed to Brave New World, which I mean, New World Order has like conspiracy theory connotations to it, and that's pretty negative. So I don't know. I think Brave New World is going to be a better title.
I completely agree. I feel like that's probably why they made the change, just because New World Order sounds very negative in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, granted, we are getting into, we're in phase 5 now. We had our phase 4, which was very much more lighthearted than previous phase 3. But now, as we're getting closer and closer to the next Avengers films, we kind of have to start getting a little bit darker again. So, yeah. But I mean, Brave New World could be a deceptively dark title too.
Totally. So, it could be about just the last frame of the movie. Like, it could be, what does it take to get to a Brave New World, right? I mean, who knows how dark it could get.
100%.
Speaking about how dark it can get, Mission Impossible 7, Dead Reckoning, completes post-production. We knew we were heading towards this. Obviously, it's coming out. It has a release date and all that good stuff. So I could not be more excited for this movie. The trailer actually looked good. The first one didn't. New one looked great. We've talked about it before. I'm on board. I'll be in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I forget when exactly this is coming out. I think it's coming out in July. Maybe or towards the end of June. I gotta watch majority of these films again before. Actually, I haven't seen most of them before going into this one. So
I had a trip watching it. Cass had never seen most of them, so we watched the TV show and all 6 movies. And we actually had to take a break because after the 4th one, she was like, "These are all the same movie." And I was like, "Yes, but aren't they good?" Like, that's what we need.
I know the 4th one, or the 6th one is very well regarded. The one with Henry Cavill in it. So
I feel like the 2nd one is the only severe misstep. Like, that one just doesn't feel like Mission Impossible. And then once Tom Cruise basically started producing them himself in the 3rd one, that's when they really start to kind of get back on track.
Sure thing. Speaking of getting back on proper footing, hopefully, Ridley Scott's next film is Napoleon, which had its first footage shown off at Apple's recent tech event, which was either yesterday or today. I don't know. I don't have anything Apple, but they did show some footage, which we're gonna have to wait a while still before we get a trailer. But I got there was a little on Twitter. There was a video someone took of some of the footage, and it's Joaquin Phoenix dressed up as Napoleon on a boat. So I mean, that's about all we got. But it's Ridley Scott, so I've got faith in it.
Yeah, I mean, do we need any more of teaser footage? I feel like that sells the whole thing right there. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, very excited to see what that film is going to be like. I've heard some mixed things from its couple of test screenings, but you should never listen to what test screenings say. They're almost always false news that's being put out.
And I'm surprised you didn't watch the Apple keynote yesterday, because they announced their own VR, and it's pretty amazing.
I saw a recap of it, and yeah, not interested. It's way too overpriced.
I think it's way too OP. I think it's going to be amazing. I think it's overpriced now. Give it a couple years.
It's an augmented reality device. It's not a virtual reality one.
It's not for games. It's for creative workforces and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a tool. It's not. It's not the same as like a Rift or something.
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely that's not the purpose. But speaking of things that have a little purpose or a lot, Hocus Pocus 3 is in development at Disney. This comes as a bit of a shock. I believe that all three original are on board for this movie. The original cast is back for the main trilogy or the main trio. But I don't know. This seems kind of like one of those things that I know Hocus Pocus got like a lot of traction last Halloween with like costume sales for the movie being at an all-time high. So I guess there's a demand for it. And I mean, I guess I don't know how many of these we need.
I would have just been fine with one, to be honest. I really don't like that movie. I don't like any of them. But I mean, it's got its place. It's kind of like it feel like it's becoming the Christmas story of Halloween time for a lot of people. Which, I mean, there's better Halloween movies out there. But
I would be way more inclined to see Halloween Town 4 or whatever. Calabar's Revenge 2. Like, I would much rather see that franchise get picked up again.
Speaking of franchises getting picked up again, Vin Diesel is reportedly upset at Jason Momoa for overacting and quote-unquote stealing scenes in the latest Fast and Furious films. Well, then maybe you shouldn't have written the script the way it was and allowed him free reign. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say he did overact, but I also think that he was one of the more like interesting parts, and that's not saying for better or worse, just a more interesting part of the story, like trying to figure out what his character was. There were quite a few times I looked over at my friend Joe next to me in the theater, and he was like, what is his character? Like, what is the arc that we're going for?
I think it really just comes down to the fact that Vin Diesel is like so underacting in these movies that it's just like it's opposite ends of the scale, and he's like he doesn't want it to be brought down or brought more attention that he's not really doing anything.
Yeah. Speaking of Fast and Furious, though, Dwayne Johnson is reportedly having a really hard time getting films greenlit, and that is why, I guess, big spoiler, but he's forced to return as Police Captain Hobbs. That he's just having trouble getting his other projects off the ground. So they teased that at the end of the movie, and I guess it's kind of coming out now that he's just having a hard go of it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Black Adam was a disaster, and I mean, I like Jungle Cruise. I thought he was actually fine in that movie. So
I like Jungle Cruise.
Kind of odd. I mean, we're still getting word that there's supposed to be another a Jumanji movie coming out with him in the cast. So
I'd imagine it should be. It felt like a trilogy was happening.
Yeah, 100%. So let's go ahead and take a break. We got a lot of stories to get through. And we got a lot of comments to get through here. Our good friend Zach, I haven't been referred to as Mark Hamill in years. Well, it's a little bit of a Ben and Obi-Wan Kenobi situation. We just call you Zach and not Mark Hamill.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, Zach. I called you that on Friday night when I stayed over. So I don't know what that's about.
There's a story there, ladies and gentlemen. Next, hey, little Matt, how's it going? Wish we got Kubrick's Napoleon movie. I agree. All 6 hours of it. Maybe at that point make it a series? I don't know. Like a mini-series? If the footage is still out there, I'd love to see that as like an HBO Max like mini-series. I think that'd be cool. Oh, speaking of Cassidy, I hope Kim Possible makes a cameo in the next Mission Impossible movie.
Why not?
Hey,
Except not the girl that did the live action for the live action show. We should get a different.
No, just have the animated character in a live action movie. that lends a lot to the seriousness of those films. But it's I don't know if it's going to be a good thing because she'll make it possible.
Whoa. Well, then it's not Tom Cruise. You're right.
Cassidy also has thoughts on a live action Coraline. Don't want to see it.
That's a tough call.
That movie thrives because of its animation, and I think that making it into live action would take away a lot of its artistic intention. I think it functions better as a stop motion because it's also like very storybooky too. So
I think it would, if they were going to do that, it would have to be a full-fledged horror film. Like I think they'd really have to lean into like realism and creepiness in the set. Like I don't think it could be, like you said, as storybookish. I don't think that would land very well. So I'd be interested to see the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, if it's being thought up, then hey, we'll coin the phrase. We'll have to wait and see. Toxic Nos just went to see Spider-Verse, 10 out of 10. Hey, glad to hear it. No spoilers. Spoiler alert. I gave it
a 95, Kevin. I also thought it was very, very good. Very fun theater experience.
A lot of push for it right now to get a Best Picture nomination. So
makes sense.
Interesting. Because it's doing so much for animation. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Zach, Fruit for Thought G, your rating of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 last week, 84 out of 100, is exactly where I had it. Hey, glad to hear it. Glad to hear that for once people are agreeing with the critic. And the top 8 MCU movie excluding Avengers titles.
Specific list.
See that. Yeah. Because I feel like in any top 5, Endgame and Infinity War are on there. So
yeah.
But thank you for putting in those comments. Let's go ahead and get back into the stories. And picking it up right where we left off, Renfield will be arriving on Peacock this Friday. For any of you who failed to go see this apparent failure of a film in theaters, it'll be there on Peacock to watch this Friday, which I'll probably watch it there because I'm not paying for it.
It feels like this thing had like a week in theaters. Like I think they just pulled the plug ASAP on it.
Maybe. 100% maybe.
It felt like it just came and went. It was kind of crazy quick.
It'll be pretty similar to a movie we're going to talk about when it comes to trailers, which I think it's going to be, but we'll see.
Yeah. Moving on. Miles Morales' Spider-Man film live action is currently in development per the rumor mill. So definitely we are opening up the Spider-Verse. I mean, we now have 4 canon Spider-Man stories going on simultaneously. And with this live action, potentially adding a 5th in there. I mean, we are certainly in the multiverse era just with Spider-Man. Marvel has, even though it's the multiverse saga, we're not quite doing it with Marvel, but with Spider-Man, we're there. We've got so many.
100%, because I'm actually okay with this, because the Sony films are on a different production schedule than MCU ones, as we'll talk about in a minute. But they've already shown that Venom is in the multiverse for the MCU. He showed up in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yep.
And so maybe they could be pushing something to happen with Secret Wars. Maybe all the Sony products are going to come in too and just really make it crazy, because there's a lot of rumors swirling about that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of sequels, though, let's go ahead and talk about The Batman, which is one of my favorite movies of last year, I believe it came out. Batman Part 2 has had its filming delayed due to the ongoing WGA strike. This is not much of a surprise, unfortunately, with most things getting paused right now, as we'll talk about in the next story. But not too surprising, but still excited to see, because we have no idea what's going to be happening in this one, cast-wise or story-wise.
They've kept it pretty close to the vest, but something that we talked about before about the writer's strike is that it's not necessarily an instant effect that we'll see. We're starting to see a little bit of it now, but a lot of writing has already been done for things that are close in timeline. We're going to start to see this effect really happen in the next 6 months to a year, where all the pre-recorded TV shows run out of their pre-recordings and they haven't been in development. So that season gets delayed and that movie gets delayed. We're starting to see the trickles of it, right? It's delayed. This movie, it may be delayed a full year because of this setback. So we're just kind of, we're definitely in an interesting era. We'll have to see what happens with this writer's strike and how quickly it can be resolved. But as we always say, they deserve to be paid fair wages. So we're all for it.
100%. And also, these are not like, some of these films are shooting down due to being in solidarity with the strikes. Some of them, however, are being shut down. A lot of TV shows are being shut down because the actual WGA is picketing outside where they are filming. So they are unfortunately causing issues for them to work, which is the entire point of the strike to begin with. So,
and just to continue this, Spider-Man 4 development's also on hold due to the same strike. So again, the halo effect of everything that's going to come from this, we'll see the impact as it develops.
Yeah, I mean, this is coming from Tom Holland, who's confirmed to be back in the development chair with everyone. And that development chair is sort of a writer's room. So unfortunately, it is affected by this latest strike.
Yeah.
So speaking of sequels, let's keep the train rolling. John Carpenter has been teasing A Thing 2, which this is, I don't know how they could do it. I don't know what the story would be. But if it's John Carpenter doing it, I'm very excited.
I almost would love to see kind of like a multiverse thing where it's just the same story with a different group of people in a different setting. Like same exact concept, but let's change some of the ingredients in the story and see how it plays out. And then you could just keep doing that and explore different psychological scenarios and stuff like that. I'd be down for it.
Yeah, I don't know what they would have to do as a location though, because I mean, like you could do it where it's in space, but you already had movies like Life that did the same thing.
Pretty close, yeah.
I mean, what you could do the Arctic Circle, the opposite end of the globe, but then that's just another snowy environment. You could do
Underwater, like Abyss, almost. You could do something like that.
maybe, but I was gonna say, what about like like the I forget the exact name, like the Tunguska experiments in Russia, where it's like out in like Siberia or something, but it's like
an
earlier in time. It's
isolated-
like in the 50s or 40s. That would be cool.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe the thing too, because right, it obviously was frozen in the ice. Maybe it's a prehistoric movie about when it was frozen in the ice.
There you go. There's a lot of opportunities for something interesting there.
I'm not striking. I'll write your movie, John Carpenter.
Adam the Man just puts his professionals.
In other news, though, Mandy Moore and Camille Nanjiani to lead Blumhouse's Insidious spin-off Thread. I actually like the name quite a bit. I think it sounds super fun. I'm just not sure if Insidious is the franchise to branch off of at this point. I don't know how staple it is anymore. I feel like it's a little bit overplayed with the previous one that we got, and we are getting another one. So I'm just not sure, but I hope that the spinoff has new life.
I almost think that they're really going to be banking off the success of Insidious: The Red Door, which I feel like financially, horror has been having a fantastic year.
I've been loving it, yeah.
Hopefully it's going to continue that trend, and hopefully it's a good film. I mean, I feel like the interest in the Insidious films has waned compared to like The Conjuring and other franchises.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll have to see how it performs. But I think Kumail Nanjiani getting attached to a horror film is actually kind of cool. I feel like a lot of comedic actors have the possibility to do something kind of special when it comes to something else.
And I'd love to see him in that darker tone of a role. Like I feel like he can do it, and I'm excited to see that happen.
Yeah, 100%. Next up, this was kind of exciting and big news for those of us who are into this. Hayao Miyazaki's next film, which is called How Do I Live? Something like that. How Do You Live? How Do I Live? One of those two. Is set to release with no promotional materials whatsoever. It's not getting a poster. It's not getting a trailer. It's not getting TV ads. It's getting nothing. Purely because it's like, what's an example of a brand?
I'll give you an example. Rolls-Royce.
There you go.
Rolls-Royce has no commercials. Then if you're in the market to buy a Rolls-Royce, you don't need the commercial to convince you. Like you're gonna go see it, and that's the same for this.
You already have every animator in the world who's gonna go ahead and go see this movie. But I'm sure Disney's gonna show it as an educational masterclass because that's what they do already with his films. But this is exciting. Which I mean, I'm just gonna be. I just want to know when it comes out because there's a Japan release date, but there's no release date for America yet. So,
yeah. In our last news story of the day, Broadway director Thomas Kail, I believe that's how you say it, to direct the Moana live-action remake. Broadway, I do feel like, is a perfect transition for somebody to enter their directing role in live-action films. I feel like that's very much what he's doing. He's turning a Broadway musical type film into a live action movie, so it feels like the blending of two kind of perfect worlds. So I'm excited for it. I think it's a great call.
I'm just double checking on his career. It looks like he was one of the Broadway directors for Hamilton, which that's how he knows Lin-Manuel Miranda, who did the music for Moana. So that makes a lot of sense.
Totally.
So I'm still angry that this movie's happening, though. It hasn't been long enough.
We forgot to mention that. We don't want.
Why? Can we just get an Atlantis remake? That's all we want.
Or even a Treasure Planet remake. Like, let's get some of the amazing films that they've already done.
Atlantis already has a cast, though. Tom Holland and Zendaya are perfect for Atlantis.
Yeah.
Just saying that.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. We don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. It's an S-tier Disney movie, let's be real.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we move on, we had quite a few comments come in, so let's go ahead and see what we got going on here. Griffin, hey, fancy seeing you guys here. You know, it's kind of weird. I mean, it's not like we schedule it.
What's up, Griff?
How's it going, buddy? We got Joey chiming in. Hi, guys.
Oh, I just talked about you, Joe.
He's asking, close the door.
Yeah, that's a tough one for the live stream, but an inside joke from our community college days.
Awesome. John Carpenter was supposed to be doing a Dead Space movie. Now I'm hearing that they're going to be with James Wan for the Dead Space movie. that would be interesting. I would love to, because James Wan is a great director. And I would
Yeah.
love to see what he can do with a Dead Space film. But I still think the body horror aspect of John Carpenter's films is perfect. I know John Carpenter still talks about doing a Dead Space movie, so
Maybe we'll get a few. Maybe they're kind of starting.
maybe they'll work together.
Whoa, it's been a long time since we've gotten like a power team up of directors like that.
There you go. Juan E. I'm assuming this is a mistype for a later comment. Cassidy, Insidious, definitely a top 5 horror film for me. Excited for another one.
The first
Awesome.
Insidious, amazing. Yeah.
It's been a long time since I saw it, so I know the red face in the mirror has always stuck with me. as a
Iconic
jump scare.
horror. Yeah.
Back to Toxic. James would be a great for a Dead Space movie. I agree.
Yeah.
I
All
agree.
for it. I'm just excited for a movie in general. I just want
Yeah.
a Dead Space movie. I don't really
It
care who does it.
needs a movie. And also needs a Halloween Horror Nights maze. I've been throwing that out there for years.
Little niche. I'd be surprised if they did it, but very exciting.
Well, it just got the remake this year, and it was very highly regarded. So,
Yeah.
Joey, perfect example.
My Rolls Royce. Thanks.
Horror more yeet.
Welcome.
See. Cassidy, thoughts on How to Train Your Dragon live action casting? It's perfect.
I think we talked about it last week.
Last week or the week before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we are all for it. I think they nailed Hiccup. I cannot think of a better person for that role.
Nailed Hiccup. And then who was the other guy? Oh, the guy from Black Phone. Mason Thames. Or Thames. Yeah, he was. Yeah, both of them are going to be great.
What's amazing is that they were able to actually cast the dragon perfectly. I can't believe they found a dragon that looks exactly like the one from the animated show.
Especially, yeah, it's just nuts. Joey, would you doing a viewing party for the new Ghibli movie? That would be kind of hard to set up. I think we would probably do like an after thing. Like, we just went and saw it. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, I
viewing
don't think we would
party, though.
illegally film in a theater.
Yeah. I mean, if this channel ever got big enough, there would be like a meetup potentially. But never know. Atlantis Salon would be a good movie to remake if done right. Exactly. It would have to be done right with the right director and the right cast. And honestly, right now, I can't think of a good director off the top of my head. I always think Denis Villeneuve, though, but he's going to be busy with Dune for a while.
For quite a while. There's a lot of books. 6. So we'll see how long he's in charge of it.
If they keep him going.
Yeah.
Griffin, great question. Cassidy, who's going to play the dragons? I think in 2023, it should be played by a dragon. I think that anything else would be racist towards the dragon community.
Racist.
Or more. We won more James Wan. Well, you're going to get more James Wan. We got Aquaman 2 coming out later this year. So
not that James Wan. we want the other
horror James Wan.
We want the other James Wan.
Matt Wallace, still have not watched the Insidious movies. I haven't seen anything past the first one, so I'm right there, almost there with you.
Oh, wow. Guys, watch the Insidious movies. They're staple horror.
All right. Well, adding more to the list that's already 3,000 movies long. Mr. Zach, Zendaya ain't got that dog in her to be Kita.
Dang. Hot take, Zach.
That feels... All right. Well, don't agree with you. I think she's perfect for it. Griffin, Adrian stole my joke
he's
yet
saying
again.
she's not as thick as the person in the show.
I don't know.
Oh, sorry, Griffin. That's just because we think so much alike. That's why we're best friends.
Alrighty. Thank you for the comments. Let's go ahead and move it along. We had a lot of trailers come out this week, so let's go ahead and take a look into the trailer park. Adrian, what stuck out to you this week?
Easy pick for me. I'm so excited for this movie. Talk to Me, A24 production. They're really starting to ramp up the marketing for it. I love all the promotional material. I am fully on board for this. I cannot wait.
I agree. I think the trailer looks really good. I actually had a lot of fun with the Sympathy for the Devil trailer that came out
The Rolling
a couple hours
Stones, yeah.
before this came out. The song is from Rolling Stones, but this movie has nothing to do with the Rolling Stones.
Oh, I literally thought that's what it was.
No, this is was it Joel Kinnaman who was in the RoboCop remake and was in Suicide Squad as Rick Flag. He is going to the hospital to take to make sure his wife is fine after giving birth, but he is held hostage by Nicolas Cage with red hair and a red smoking jacket.
Crazy.
and he's just basically torturing poor Joel Kinnaman. And it looks just like another bombastic, like classic Nicolas Cage performance, which we haven't had for a while. We've actually had a string of very good performances from him. So this looks like more to return to like that Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans type acting.
Okay, sure.
Which it's probably gonna be a bad movie, but I'm kind of down to watch it.
That's what we love about Nick Cage, though.
Gotta love him. Oh man, have you seen Mandy yet?
Yeah.
God, he's so good in Mandy.
We also got before we move. We also got like another one for Insidious. We got another Transformers one. We got The Outlaws. Looks kind of classic. We got Bird Box Barcelona, which is pretty just an interesting kind of left field pull there. But nothing really stood out. I feel like there was just a couple big ones, and the rest were kind of like filler trailers, just going along with it.
Yeah, a lot of Netflix stuff was announced this week, I think, which is kind of where a lot of that comes from. But hey, movies are still movies, so it's going to attract some people. We had one more comment come in before we switch over. Matt, yeah, Talk to Me is a movie I might go see if I can find the time. That is the key.
Matt. Yeah.
It sucks being an adult, right? We got to find time to do the stuff we love. All right. Well, thank you for that. Let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly here because I watched a lot of movies this week. It's like we had a lot of time off because of the holiday. First up, let me go ahead and go to Solo Cam. First up was History of the World Part 1, the 1981 comedy. Not every joke lands and some segments go on for far too long, but History of the World Part 1 is still a fun time with some iconic comedic moments. Gave the film a 72 out of 100. One of Mel Brooks' weaker films, in my opinion. Next up was Horrible Bosses, full of fun performances, especially Charlie Day, Jennifer Aniston, and Colin Farrell. Horrible Bosses is a great comedy that's not trying too hard. It's naturally funny, and aside from a few jokes that don't land or haven't aged well, the film is mostly good from start to finish. It was a lot of fun to rewatch. Next up, I actually restarted watching a list on Letterboxd, and I'm going through and currently watching the 100 highest grossing films of all time, according to Box Mojo. Starting off with Titanic. Which, man, I haven't watched this for a while. Gave it a 68. There's a passion for the historical event here and a level of detail that's astonishing. However, it's hidden under a lukewarm, forgettable romance that is the most center point of the film. It's also way too long and needs to be trimmed down. This movie is pretty boring. Next up is the live-action, quote-unquote, The Lion King from 2019. There's nothing like seeing the first movie you've ever seen through a new lens. This is actually, again, the first film I had ever seen in my entire life. While this film lacks the charm of the original, it's not soulless. All of its individual parts work so well, but when they're put together, it's just not quite a bullseye. So it did give it a 65.
Sorry to chime in. Did you say that the 2019 remake of The Lion King was the first movie you've ever seen in your life?
No, The Lion King, the original.
The original, okay.
That was the first movie I've ever seen. This is the remake of it.
Gotcha.
Next up, Marvel's first Avengers film, The Avengers. A pivotal moment for film as an industry, The Avengers is a fun, universe-melding ride that is well acted and paced throughout. While it doesn't hit the heights of later MCU films, it's a great starting point and a solid building block for what came next. So it did give it an 80. Next up was 2017's Beauty and the Beast live-action remake. Like the new Lion King, all the parts and components work on their own, but when put together, it's still just missing the charm of the original. I do want to note the film's incredible production, costume, and makeup design, however, easily the best design work out of all the live-action redos. Probably except for Cruella, but Cruella wasn't a remake. It was a separate thing. Avengers Age of Ultron was next. This was, while not as tightly written and as executed as the first, Age of Ultron has a great villain and adds memorable characters to the team. Unfortunately, though, it feels more like a building block and less of a fully realized film, so because of that, I gave it a 59. Next up, I know Adrian's going to disagree with me on this one, I think. Black Panther, giving it a 91. With an impeccable cast, directorial vision, and incredible design, Black Panther stands above most other solo MCU projects because of what it provides to the larger MCU while retaining its own identity and being its own film. Because of that, give it a 91. After that was Incredibles 2. It has great messaging about parenting and family, but a weak villain and a plot that feels a bit overstuffed keep it from being as good as the original. It is not as good as number one, and I will not hear that it is. Next up, Iron Man 3. from 2013. Iron Man 3, while not as strong as the first Iron Man, it is more fun and tries to do more with Tony Stark as a character than the second did. It's also just a great time from Shane Black, even if the twist isn't quite so successful. Give it a 72. Next up was Aladdin, the 2019 live-action remake. It's got the incredible production design, visuals, and actually feels like it's trying. However, the music feels manufactured. The music feels soulless compared to the original, and the performances can vary highly. Because of that, give it a 69. Still a fun time. I wouldn't say it's a bad live-action remake by any means. It just misses the mark in some important areas. And finally, the 2016 The Jungle Book live-action remake. Aside from an occasionally annoying main actor, this film boasts an incredible voice cast, astounding visuals, and a faithful update of the classic animated film that more than justifies its existence. And I believe personally that this is the best of all the live-action remakes. So
I would probably agree. I think that's a fair statement.
I would agree. I was the one that made the statement in the first place. But other than that, you can follow anything else on Letterboxd. There is my username. You can follow anything that I watch and see the lists that I've posted myself. So that is about it for that segment. Let's go ahead and jump in. Mr. Zach, Titanic hot take. I feel like it's not that hot of a take. I feel like a lot of people don't like it as much as the money that it's made. I don't know. Interesting. Cassidy Eddie, no one rates movies like Gaston.
Love it.
Love it. Love to see it. More and more, Garrett, have you seen Fall? I have not, but people keep telling me that I should watch it, which is like so fascinating because that trailer came out and it looked terrible. Like the visual effects looked terrible, and I had no interest in watching that movie, but I've had several people tell me that we should watch it. Did you see it, Adrian?
I don't think so. I don't even know what this is.
The two women that are stuck at the top of a large pool in the desert.
Yeah, I will say I've seen most of it from clips on TikTok. I feel like I've seen like 80% of that movie. Yeah, I thought I don't know how much anyone knows, but the twist is pretty interesting, if not a little predictable. But yeah, I mean, it was a good time.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check it out because apparently my cousin said that it has some of the best tension he's seen in any film in a long time, which I was like, oh, okay.
And I think that has to deal with the fact that it's almost like the same kind of feeling as those movies that are like whatever 47 meters down or whatever, where like you're in such an isolated set that like anything that goes wrong is the end, like you're dead. So I think the tension is just kind of on the wire the whole time. Yeah,
which I mean, hey, that's the way it should be in a situation like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Matt, yeah, Black Panther is in my top 5 favorite MCU movies. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I put it in the top 5 favorites. Because I feel like, again, favorites is different from how like a highly ranked film. Because you could have a really highly ranked film, but it may not be your favorite, right? So I'm trying to think if I would necessarily agree with that statement. But Black Panther is very good, in my opinion. I know Adrian thought it was good, but not as good as everyone else.
I literally gave it like an 89, and everyone gives me so much crap for it. But
it wasn't a 90, Adrian. No,
I know.
I'm just messing with you. Matt Walls, want to go see Fall? I've heard it's really good. Yeah, apparently word's making its way around. 72 for Iron Man 3 is certainly a stance. I'm interested to hear why, because it's still better than the second one. The second one is like easily top 3 worst movies of the MCU.
I think the third Iron Man feels like it lacks a cohesive direction, and that they tried to overstuff the plot with like stuff that needed to be in it for the later films. For Tony Stark's growth, like it felt really compacted and rushed.
Which is interesting because I wouldn't agree. I thought it was just like paced fine. I thought it was fun. Like I think that the Mandarin twist is certainly not that good, but he gets redemption later in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. It's kind of one of the movies that came out during Phase 2 where it didn't feel like a building block. To me, at least, it only felt that way because we get to see parts of Tony Stark getting his anxiety stuff, which as someone who suffers from anxiety a lot, that's about how it works. Yeah. So, more and more, it's so good, Matt. Alrighty, well, a lot of people are telling me to watch it. Maybe it's going to jump on my list for this week. Adrian hit it on the head with the Iron Man take.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, still better than the second one, though. Second one's god-awful. Alrighty.
You don't
well,
like the
moving-
racetrack at Monaco?
It's one of the only good parts of the movie, and then it just all goes downhill from there.
All right. Well, enough of what Garrett watched this week, because a lot of people might want to go to the theater this weekend. So here's what's coming out this weekend to a theater potentially near you. Coming out to certainly a theater near you is Transformers Rise of the Beasts. If you're unfamiliar, Transformers Rise of the Beasts will take audience on a 90s adventure and introduce the Maximals, Predacons, and Terracons into the existing battle on Earth between the Autobots and the Decepticons. The first trailer for this really had me sold. Second trailer kind of lost me. I don't know if I'll check it out in theaters, but I have seen every Transformers film thus far, so there might be a little bit of a case for me to go see it. This one is to wide release, so it's certainly going to be at the closest theater to you. Also coming out this weekend, we have The Doc, as in DOC, about Dr. Dre. 30 years after losing his voice in a horrific car accident, rap legend, or maybe it's not about Dr. Dre. Rap legend The Doc considers dangerous experimental surgery that could restore his voice at long last. This one is a full-blown documentary, and it is coming out to moderate release, so you might have to drive about 10, 15, 20 minutes to go see it. We also have coming out Scarlet, spelled with one T, I guess. Garrett and I went back and forth on whether it had two T's or not. The emancipation of a woman over 20 years between 1919 and 1939, a time of great inventions and great dreams. This is a French movie, a drama historical romance film coming out this weekend, and it is to limited release. So this one might be like if you have like a Fathom Events kind of theater or something that does show kind of like obscure films, this might be the place to go see it. Also to limited release, we have 97 Minutes. A hijacked 767 will crash in just 97 minutes when its fuel runs out. Against the strong will of NSA Deputy Toyin, NSA Director Hawkins prepares to have the plane shot down before it does any catastrophic damage on the ground, leaving the fate of the innocent passengers in the hands of Alex, an undercover Interpol agent who has been embedded in the terrorist cell. This seems like a cool plane movie. I know we got a really good one with Gerard Butler recently. This one seems like kind of in that same vein of an exciting plane movie, and I feel like we stopped getting them for a while, so I'm excited to see them back. This one is limited though, so it might become wide theater later, but if you want to see it this weekend, you might have to go find a theater that's showing it. And last but not least, we have Persian Lessons. This is the entire description of this was in French. So I'm not going to butcher that for you, but it is a drama war film talking about the war going on in Belgium and learning to speak Persian, obviously, so that they can infiltrate and like work in the camp's kitchen and all this stuff from what I could decipher. It looks really interesting. I believe the entire movie is also in French, so it would have to be like a subtitled thing. But that does come out this weekend to limited release, so you have to track it down if you want to see it. But that's it this weekend. We only have those 5 films coming out. It's actually a light weekend. I feel like Transformers is definitely taking a majority of it, so no one wants to come out kind of against that. So it makes sense.
Yeah, and actually I'm hearing a lot of pretty decent things about Rise of the Beast. A lot of people are saying this isn't really saying much, but it's the best Transformers movie.
Yeah, I've been hearing the same thing, and that's why like the trailers are really swinging me one way, but feedback swinging the other. Like it's super tough to know how it's going to be.
Yeah, it's like we're literally seeing what I thought of what that fall was going to be in real time. So kind of surprising. Well, awesome to hear what's coming out this weekend. But we got some comments that came in, so let's go ahead and get to those. Transformers #1 movie to watch next week, and Boogeyman. Also heard some pretty decent things about Boogeyman. Although it looked good from the trailers, and then everyone's saying it's a jump scare fest, which, I mean...
You hate.
Because it's lazy. Matt Walls, they brought RC into the Transformers movies, other than the animated, which is a GOAT tier movie. Yeah, I haven't seen the animated one in a long time. I need to rewatch that. By the way, thank you for sharing. Alrighty, moving on to what came out last week. Let's get on to some not so surprising box office news, and that is at #1, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse took in $120.7 million, having the second biggest opening weekend of the year. In second place, we have The Little Mermaid bringing in 41.4, a respectable amount for its second week. Third is The Boogeyman bringing in 12.4, opening strong against Guardians of the Galaxy, which has fallen to $10.7 million. in the number 4 spot. And lastly, Fast X is in 5th place with 9.6 million, which is insane. The fact that this Fast and Furious movie has fallen so quickly. I think
I think all the hardcore fans went and saw it opening weekend and it surged. And I don't think it's going to get any of those trickling fans. I think it's going to fall really fast and furious. But what I love to see about this list is that The Boogeyman is number 3, and Evil Dead Rises also made an appearance on the top box office. It's really the year of horror, and people want to go see it. It's super exciting.
Yeah, really, really exciting stuff. And I mean, we're also getting really good numbers for animation this year too.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Super Mario Brothers entering in, even though I necessarily wasn't the biggest fan of it, still entered the $1 billion club, which is insane. And then now we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which certainly very likely, I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion, but I think it's going to do much better than the original film. It's already made almost half of what the first one made in its theater run. So
wow,
which is pretty sweet. But that's it for the movies that came out last week. That is our box office report. Before we move on to our little after show and we get to talk with some comments and with all of you and having fun, Adrian, what have you been doing in your free time?
Been doing a lot. I've been pushing this to a lot of friends. The game Inscription on pretty much any console or PC. Amazing video game. I quote unquote beat it without spoiling anything, but I cannot recommend it more. It's one of the best solo games that I've played in a long time. In the description, if you look it up, it says that it's a love letter to gaming, and it absolutely is. And the developer has made really incredible games before, so just highly recommend it. I also went and saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and that was amazing. Still watching SWAT. Started watching One Piece. Been playing a little bit of Sea of Thieves, a little bit of Grounded, a little bit of Escape Academy with some friends, and then every weekend just still been playing tennis.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. I Grounded's one of the ones I can't do.
Why?
Because Grounded is one with all the insects, right?
Yeah, but they have the arachnophobic setting.
Yeah, but it's not fun to just fight a bunch of blobs that are floating in midair. I don't know.
Maybe then what would you want to fight? If you don't want to fight the spiders, what do you want to fight?
I don't know. Put in the modding from Skyrim that allows me to have Spider-Man as the spiders, and I'm happy.
What?
Dude, there's a mod for that. They actually have like like in Skyrim they have the frost spiders, and they have a mod that replaces them with Spider-Man with like its arms up and its legs back like a crab. And then
God!
But then it has the voice lines. I don't know if you remember those like Batman and Spider-Man videos on YouTube. It literally has those voice lines. So when one of them dies, it goes, "I'm Spider-Man."
Oh my gosh!
It's great. As far as what I've been doing, you guys hear about it pretty much every week with all the movies I watch. But I am going through the top 100 highest grossing films of all time, according to Box Office Mojo on Letterboxd, and I am 68% of the way through the list.
So you've watched 68 movies.
Well, we watched some of them because of the podcast before.
Oh, sure.
Star Wars films, a lot of the Marvel ones that have come out in theaters that I've seen. So we've seen a lot of them, and so it's going in and kind of filling in the blanks, like Titanic and all the live action remakes and things like that. So that's been a lot of fun to do, and it's actually kind of when it keeps you on a structure of things to watch, you never have to guess like what you want to watch next or choose something. So it's kind of refreshing. But besides that, YouTube channel to call out that I've been watching a lot of in my free time is a channel called Nick Crowley, who does a lot of kind of like true crime, like kind of scary, disturbing stories and things like that.
I've been watching Nick Crowley for years, and I highly recommend. They have a channel called Liminal Land where he teamed up with Nexpo, one of my other favorite horror channels, and they go and stay in haunted places.
Well, that's their channel, Nick and Ryan, right?
Yes, and then they have another one called Liminal Land that's an ARG project.
Yeah, which that I need to start looking into in my free time because it looks very
cool.
But besides that, it's unfortunately over now. But last week I was playing the demo for Warhammer 40,000 Warpforge, which is their kind of version of Hearthstone, which was a lot of fun and was very different. And very much looking forward to that coming out, even though it's going to be built for mobile, I think. Very much looking forward to that. Also, starting up tomorrow is Battlefield 2042 Season 5, which I finished Season 4 and all of its content in like a week, like 2 months ago. So I'm really excited for this new season and more content to unlock. And then I was telling Adrian before this, I re-downloaded Pokemon Go. So it's getting me out of the house and getting me start to walking again.
Which is awesome. That's good to hear.
Can never complain with that.
Real quick, I did want to jump. I'm not positive, but I think Nick Crowley is the Taco Bell foot lettuce guy from back in the day, where it's like number 15 Taco Bell or like whatever foot lettuce. I think
I need to look this
him.
up now. I'm just gonna type number 15. Not seeing anything.
You don't remember the meme?
No, I know the meme, but I don't think that was his channel though.
Oh, maybe I'm totally wrong. I feel like I thought it was him.
I don't know, because that guy was on Smiling Friends, and it's definitely Nick Crowley was not in the credits. Joey says, Sea of Thieves! I need to download again. It's so much fun. Whenever you play, let me know.
Will do.
Matt Walls, how many Warhammer video games are there? There are too many. And that's being said by a Warhammer fan. There are too many.
Matt, I gotta tell you, every time Garrett says that there's a new game, it's somehow a new Warhammer game that has come out.
Yeah, there's like, yeah.
And then every time, Garrett, you also go, which is great, because we need more Warhammer games.
So we need more good ones. That's the we get a lot of mediocre Warhammer games.
Fair enough.
So games like Bolt Gun, when they come out, are fantastic, and I really enjoyed Dark Tide, which is still a fantastic game. Cassidy, shout out to Garrett for being my newest Pokemon Go friend. Hey, I got you. Thank you for the gift. I sent you one, which I think you opened. Next up, Mr. Griffin, 40,000. Matt, he just said it. I'm pretty sure there are 40,000 games. They just had an event called Warhammer Skulls. They unveiled a bunch of new like Warhammer games that they're working on, and among them is a Twisted Metal-like game, which looks so much fun. I can't wait to try that out.
Stuff, huh?
And there is a Power Wash Simulator pack coming for Warhammer 40,000 content, which I am I'm so excited for. There's also a SpongeBob expansion coming out that you have to pay for Power Wash Simulator, which looks great.
That sounds fun.
One of my most played games of all time, and I can't wait to play it more. Matt Wall has been wanting to play World War Z game again. I've heard good things about it. That's actually another one that got 40k tie-in shit. there's like charms that are coming or something, and you can have on your backpack or something. But that game was fun. I wouldn't necessarily say it was like a dying to play it again. Did you ever play it, Adrian?
No, I didn't.
It's definitely cool because you have like the waves of zombies like in the movie, and they kind of follow each other. That's kind of cool, and it's kind of cool the tech behind it.
Sure.
Cassie says Team Mystic. Is Mystic the blue one?
Yes.
Oh, well then that's not my team. Sorry.
Ooh.
Sorry, Cassidy. But at least I'm not one of those red team members.
Red is the worst.
Griffin, could you simulate power washing my car? Hey, if you have a power washer, I will actually, no joke, wash your car. Dude, power washing is literally the most satisfying thing on the planet.
I feel like because Garrett's only done it in the game, you would come out, Griffin, and the paint would be all peeled off.
I've done it in real life too. My last job, we had to buy a power washer, and we used it quite a bit. So
fair enough.
It feels so good. I love it. Awesome.
Griffin would come out, and there'd be semen all over his car because of how much you enjoyed it.
It's not. No. It's just soap. It's paint solidifying liquid. Don't worry.
Just leave it. Don't wipe it off.
What do you mean the cops are coming? No. Don't worry.
What do you mean the cops?
It's just it's a waxing fluid, right? You put that on before you wax the car. Anyhow, it's good for the paint. Is it actually? I don't know. The power wash we had was low power at work, and I used it to clean my car a couple times, and it was fine.
I think he means semen.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to make sure your paint gets plenty of extra protein, and it's going to be good to go. Well, awesome. Go ahead and get some comments in before we jump out for the night. Adrian, anything else you want to share while we're?
No, I mean I don't really know what else has been going on. I've just been playing those games. Escape Academy's been pretty cool. It's literally escape rooms where you play in co-op with someone, and you can like split screen, and it's really emulated the stress and exhilaration of an escape room. So that's been kind of fun. Sea of Thieves has been great. I just was playing last night, and was playing with Joe and Cass, and we had like probably 40 G's worth of loot on our boat, and then we went to go try to finish a voyage and just totally got bombarded by literally like 27 ghost pirate ships and lost everything. And it was really fun. I haven't had that much fun in a long time. It was great.
We got comments here. Matt Wall says pause. No, too late now. Those comments are out there in the wind. Griffin, Fortnite after the stream, boys and cast.
We will be playing games. I don't know if we're playing Fortnite, but we will circle back and let you know.
What are you going to be playing?
We don't know yet. We just know we're playing games.
I've definitely been wanting to get back into Sea of Thieves. Maybe I'll install it. Matt Walls, I've also been wanting to play that Mass Effect collection.
You're talking to the right person. Do you want to see this, Matt? It's the helmet from Mass Effect. This is the second time I've had this look on camera recently. Yes, I bought the collector's edition hat that also lights up in
that
real
didn't
cool.
Actually come with the games?
It didn't come with the newest. It didn't come with Andromeda, which was unfortunate, but it is one of my favorite pieces that I have. I am a huge Mass Effect fan, including Andromeda. The third one is probably my most played game of hours ever. I think I have like 200 hours in that or something like that. Like crazy amounts. I've played through so many times. The original trilogy's story is incredible. Take your time with it. By the time you get to the end of the third one, it is pretty crazy. So huge, huge positive for me. Yeah, I could put it on for real.
Oh shit, it actually goes on. Whoa. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You gotta turn the lights on. Yeah, the helmet lights. There you go. Are you gonna be a Paragon or Rogue? Is it bright in there, or is it like not too bad?
I mean, I can like see the, I can see the light, but it's not.
I can see me. Hi, me.
It feels like it feels like what it would look like to have this kind of helmet on.
Okay.
And it's
like-
definitely not really stuffy.
It's not. All right. Jesus, I'm about to power wash my own car now. Hey, there you go. You got several minutes of that, and no OnlyFans required. That was incredible. Cassidy, this is the content I signed up for. Hey. Well, until we get that 100 subscribers and get that hot dog eating contest, that's what's going to have to be.
For the new people, just a reminder, we're on the road to 100 subscribers. When we hit it, Garrett and I are having a hot dog eating contest. The most hot dogs you can eat in 60 seconds. I said I think I can do 5. Is that what I said?
I don't remember.
I think I said 5, and Garrett said 2. So that's what we're working towards.
Yeah. I've had a week to think about that, by the way, and we're talking hot dog and bun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chewing you're gonna have to do.
I think 5. I think I could do 5.
I think 2, and I'm sticking by it.
I am a very fast eater, and I think that if I one with Bun Joe, next comment. There was a time where Joe and I were sitting eating burgers, and he was like 2 bites away from finishing his, and I still had like my whole thing left. And he's like, "Oh, you got to catch up." And I ate my whole burger in like, I swear to God, like 10 seconds.
I don't know.
Well, that's the content. It's okay.
Yeah. To be fair though, like I've actually been trying to slow down my eating because I feel like I eat too fast in general, and it's kind of giving me some issues. So like I try to slow down my eating. So I'm trying to think more like realistically, you know. Joey, got to dip the bun in water like Kobayashi. And Joey says it's true. I was there.
He was. You could have a cheat day of eating fast. You got to do it for the views.
I will do my best.
Oh, you skipped a comment. You skipped one.
Oh,
or 2.
Well, they just came in. Zach, I could two could eat.
2 can eat dogs backwards and forwards. upside down and in reverse.
I'm confused. Was that Dr. Seuss? Did you quote Dr. Seuss? Griffin, how many dogs in 60 seconds with the helmet on?
With the helmet on, it's 6. It's one every 10 seconds.
It creates a channel, so you just have to go up and then just like, you know, put like a little bit of like paper towel inside there, so it just guides it into your mouth. You'll be good to go.
I fully use writing the word 6 seconds. I fully think I can eat a hot dog in 10 seconds.
Okay.
Get us to 100 subscribers, everyone.
Yeah, the job is on you now. Make sure that you can see that happen. Maybe we'll post it on Pornhub. Horror and more. Have you ever been so far as even to pretend to want to do more? Like, you ever seen this meme, Adrian?
No.
I'll send it to you. Actually, here, maybe I can find it and share it on stream.
Is that the kid talking about his dream where he just stumbles over his words?
No. Oh, here it is. I found it. Okay. Let's see here. I gotta remember how to share screen on this. Present, share screen. There we go. Here, we're gonna watch this as a family. Let's turn that music right on down there. Where do we go for that? Let's pause the music and listen to this together as a family.
Has you really been far, even as decided to use Even Go Want to look more like? Call 985-655-2500 inside the details for Go Further and even more decided to use. You can really be far as decided twice as much to use and go wish for it. When you decide far even once to use and go want, then get really far even as decided to use and look more like and go after. It's just common sense. Apply today.
My favorite was and go after.
Yeah, that's what she was referencing with that. If everyone makes like 10 extra accounts and subscribes, we can make this happen tonight. Zach, that's my phone number. Man, hey, I'm sorry I just put that on for the world, not the world, but a lot of people to see. Yeah, right there with you, Matt. Joey, wow, calling Zach now. Have you ever wanted to be more like? This is a marketing scheme. I gotta love these multi-level marketing schemes where it's all about getting to 100 subscribers. We can shove meat cylinders and buns in our face. It's pretty great. I just realized we could totally do an on-stream, like something we should also do is like a you laugh, you lose type thing at some point. That would be fun.
Sure.
We'd have to figure out how to do it because, I mean, usually I'd be like, let's just, take a sip of your drink or take a shot or something. But I don't know if we can advertise that kind of behavior on YouTube.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, we don't have that many subscribers. YouTube's not really watching us that closely just yet, I'm sure.
They also, like, huge YouTubers like Funhouse do videos where they take shots and get smoke every time they lose something.
That is true. We could go. Cassidy, Meat Cylinder was Adrian's high school nickname.
Absolutely, it was.
Meat Cylinder in my face is my alt account. That's also
Zach and I went to high school together, so that's nice.
Meat Cylinder in my face since your fight video. Yeah, pretty great. All right, well, let's go ahead and get those last couple comments in. We're getting here. We've gone over an hour today. Holy cow. It's been a lot going on this week, though, in terms of news stories and other stuff going on. So, oh man, we should just do it. You laugh, you lose one night. I feel like I should. You should put together a playlist of YouTube videos you find funny, or I guess TikToks or something, and we can do that as like the back half of the stream one time.
Sure,
that'd be fun. Maybe get Cass involved too.
I'll have to ask her.
Oh, she's here in the chat. Cass, would you want to do that? Anyhow,
you're on the spot, Cass. Answer now.
While people are getting in those last-minute comments, questions, concerns, and criticisms about all of us, why don't you go ahead and tell people where they can follow us, Adrian?
Sure. Real Watchers on YouTube or Twitch. If you're watching, go ahead and subscribe. We do movie news every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And then Garrett also works really hard on some really cool videos. that we post kind of irregularly, but they're really high quality and they've gotten a lot of really good feedback. So make sure to check those out on the channel. And if you want to know what we're doing, check out the Real Watchers on Instagram. Again, that's REEL Watchers, just like the one video you're watching now on Instagram. And we post kind of whenever we're going live. And if you want to get in touch with us, that's the best way to kind of communicate, as well as down in the comments below of whatever you're watching on.
Absolutely. We got a lot of fun stuff. I know Adrian's been getting pretty sweet with his Instagram kind of picture edits. So you might want to go down there and check those out. They look good. Look better than I can do. So Matt Walls, it's 10 p.m. here. Well, greetings from Pacific time to Mountain time. Hope you're doing well out there. Cassidy, I've never laughed before.
It's true.
Nadia nailed it. Then you'll be the reigning champ. It's exactly correct. Griffin Brown, wine criticism, no glizzies. Hey, we're not at 100 yet, bud. You said you're going to create fake accounts to get us up to 100, and you didn't do that in the last week. So it's your fault. Zach, I'll buy the Glizzy Champ belt.
That'd be so funny if that was our first piece of merch, was a Glizzy Champ belt.
It'll be the Glizzy Champ belt, and it'll be actually kind of nice, but on the front, it's in printed writing. It says, we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
Or we'll see when it comes out. Oh my gosh. That'd be so funny. I was actually talking to a friend of ours, Joey, not Joey in the chat, different Joey, who was joking around about our little we'll have to wait and see how it is. And he's like, you guys should watch how much you say that. I'm like,
dang, criticism. Get out of here. Is he watching?
He probably will at some point.
Not live. Fake fan, Joe. Get out of here.
He has joined us live before, though. So
not enough. He should watch how much he watches our show.
Watch the Real Watchers and watching how much you watch it. Zach says Glizzy Champ belt is also my alt account.
That's his.
How many alt accounts do you have? Well, maybe that's his Grinder account too. You never know. Speaking of Glizzies, okay. I don't know where you're going with that. Alrighty, everyone. Well, hope you all had a wonderful stream. I know we did. It's always fun talking with you guys and getting to talk about all the movie news and things that are going out there in the world. And apparently, Glizzies is just becoming a weekly topic at this point. Zach says, feel free to give all of them follows. Everyone in the chat and everyone here. Just follow everyone. And Joey says, thanks, guys. Of course. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for having a fun time with us. We'll be back here at the same time, 7 o'clock Pacific time next week. And until then, keep your eyes on the screen.